Welcome to this AMUG special episode of AM Infocast. As part of this episode, it is a great pleasure interacting with Rita Bermudez and Clara Remacha from HP. Join me in this conversation where both Rita and Clara bring a great amount of richness to the episode with their diverse perspectives and experiences in additive manufacturing world. Both of them have been to AMUG every single year since HP started its journey in additive manufacturing. And they share why they love to keep coming back every year. Welcome to AM Infocast, Clara and Rita. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you, Aditya.
So before we get into the conversation today, maybe can both of you share a little bit about your journey with additive manufacturing and 3D printing? Maybe just a quick, background, how you got introduced to it, and how's your journey been through that industry?
Okay, should I start, Clara? Yeah. I joined 3D from HP since the very, very beginning, when we were just doing the research about which patents were in the ecosystem in order to do kind of our investment strategy and decide whether to grow the market. And that's when we decided to develop our own technology. I've been doing events all around the world due to the introduction of the different platforms. I'm taking on customer use cases. Then I transitioned to this role. So mainly connecting with main customers to understand what's the usage of the technology that they are doing. And then also part of sales enablement, supporting the sales team with development of applications, sales kits all around. Since the very beginning. So it's going to be this year, probably the 10th anniversary, 10 years.
And in my case, actually, my first experience with 3D was I was studying in the US, and in the university we had access to a printer. So the first thing that I printed, I wanted to print a lion, and using an FDM printer, and it only came out as half a lion because the print job failed in the middle. So the first thing I printed was actually half a lion, and that was my first experience with 3D. But then when I came back from the US, I started at HP. And that was in 2016. I actually started working in the 3D team the same week that we introduced the first printer, the 4200. So yeah, I'm as old in the company as the first 3D printer. And since then, it's been like 7 years of different roles, mostly in application development in different industries, but trying to help customers adopt the technology for final part, not for prototyping anymore. But for final part, and so have been in a series of projects, and now I'm leading the product management team, so defining what would be the next products, the next materials in the market.
Yeah, and of course the industry's changed quite a bit since you introduced to this technology, right? With 7 to 10 years, there's been a lot of change. So how do you say it's evolved over these years, and what key trends are you seeing emerging in 2024 and beyond, considering this evolution?
I think, as I was saying, when we started 7 years ago, the market was mostly prototyping. There was very few people doing production, and that's what we wanted to do. We didn't want to enter this market just to do prototyping. The idea was to try to do production. And actually, the first team that I started with was this small team that we were looking at these strategic customers that wanted to do final part production. So the main OEMs that are today leading in the additive space from the end customer side. The learnings we had was that the technologies were not ready for that in terms of like TCO, in terms of repeatability. After 7 years, that's like things that we have been improving, and everyone in the industry has been improving. So you go to trade shows, and what do you see? You see automation, you see people reducing TCO. So those are kind of things that are making the industry consider technology more for production. And when we reflect back, we see a lot more production projects now than we saw 7 years ago. That's one. I think that right now production is the main reason why we do projects. The second one, I would say, is sustainability a lot more. We are doing a lot of efforts in sustainability, and we can get into the details later, but we see a lot of people coming to us that want to use additive for sustainability. I think COVID helped a lot, and people want to manufacture locally. People is looking at the impact of waste and so on, and that's another reason why they get into additives. And then the third trend I would say is awareness. Maybe going back to the what I said at the beginning, that I started at HP 7 years ago and I didn't know, I had no experience with 3D.
Yeah.
Now you go to universities and they all have a 3D printer, and the people we hire now, they already have PhDs in additive. So young people is using 3D as their main manufacturing tool as they grow up in university. And they go to companies and then they already know the technology. And that's really helping accelerate the adoption. So those are the things that I would say.
I think those are quite a few good and trends to look forward to. And with this evolution in the technology, a lot of the neutral forums or events play a big role in kind of evolving technologies forward. And AMUG is one of these leading events which happens in Chicago, which is in a few weeks. What's your experience with the event and your expectations from this year's event, and how do you see that event has changed as well?
Yeah, we started joining AMUG since the year before the big launch. So it was 2015. And my first experience was really very impressive because I got from the very beginning the spirit of volunteer. We are family. We are helping one each other because we are all meeting here on the year to share, learn, and have a platform of networking, learning, and it's very intensive, AMUG. So for those of you that are familiar with AMUG, for those of you that are not, it's super intensive. So you need to be well prepared to attend AMUG, because since the very beginning, I learned that it's about that time of the year that we all stop from our day-to-day and we go wherever AMUG it's being hosted. And that's the opportunity to both on the conference side to make sure that you learn from all the influencers and the professionals that are preparing their speech in there. And also on the networking side, you have time to connect with new people that it's coming in the industry. Also with those partners and existing customers that are joining AMUG as well. It's that time of the year that we have some quality time, which it's the time that we're supposed to have those conversations, to go more in deep into the details, the relations, the partnerships. And it's super intensive. From my experience, I've been growing since 2015, attending every year AMUG. And my goals every year is, hey, Rita, when you need to fly back Barcelona home, you need to make sure that you have the list of all those learnings you have let's say, received at AMUG that are making you feel proud of that week at AMUG. And it's about, okay, I want to come back next year because the return of what I got in this week, very intensive, but at the same time, the return of investment is very high.
And sometimes, we talk a lot about adoption and how to accelerate adoption and so on. For us, AMUG is a different show because it's like the pioneers, everyone that is pushing in their own companies the adoption of additives. And when we discuss how to accelerate adoption, we always say that you have to find that champion internally. And this, we've been talking about it for the past 7 years. And it's still true. Still, when you want a company to adopt, you have to find that champion. And AMUG is basically, they are all there. And they all share with each other how they are convincing their companies on the use of additive, on how to find the right applications. So it's really, when you go into this, into the lunch area, and you get assigned this random ticket and you go to a table and then you have people from all over the world, different companies explaining their adoption strategies. That's, to me, is like the highlight of AMUG and why we keep going every year, because that's where the industry is. It's not a commercial trade show. Even with talking with competitors, it's about bringing the industry forward. How do we make the pie bigger? It's not about what share of the pie. It's about making it bigger. And it's AMUG is, we always come out with a good feeling. We are all driving this forward.
Yeah.
I definitely agree that it's intense, because last year was the first year I was there and I was not really prepared for it. So really overwhelming, and I'm sure I'm going to be much more prepared when I go this year. because I know what to expect and what kind of, intense you need to really choose what you want to do there, because otherwise you'll be lost. So, it's definitely something we need to prepare for. Earlier you mentioned a few of these trends which you are looking at this year. And how do you see HP being positioned to thrive in this current business environment, right? It's a dynamic market as it evolves. How do you see HP being positioned there?
Well, in terms of the trends that I mentioned, one of them is I was talking about more and more production applications and more the importance of TCO, which is introduced this year an evolution of the current production platform, which is now called the 5600 series. And the idea is to have a printer that is we did a lot of changes into the thermal control of the printer to make it more repeatable, more reliable. So going into that trend of production, into the trend of reducing the TCO, we introduced this year as well some automation accessories to even reduce further the TCO. So that's on one side, that we are trying to position ourselves into keeping driving this adoption in production applications. The second one that I also mentioned was sustainability. We see it more and more that customers come because of sustainability, and that's something that we also want to push. So back in Fornext, we announced that we are moving all of our PA12 to a reduced carbon footprint. That we are doing without an impact in the end customer price, because that's something we believe we have to push. And if we believe in sustainability, those are the things that we have to do. So right now, all of our PA12 automatically has a almost 50% lower carbon footprint. We also have PA11, which is already a sustainable material as it comes from bio-based. We also work with our suppliers to reduce the carbon footprint of PA11 already, also by using renewable energy. So those are things that we are the first in the market to do this complete switch, and we would like to see the industry following the same path that we are starting, because it's important for the industry, it's important, sustainability is important for customers, and this is how we are approaching it.
Great. And any specific examples or specific success stories you would like to mention where the multi-jet fusion technology or the metal jet technologies, of course, metal jet is fairly newer, but where they are making significant impact? Can you kind of mention some specific examples there?
Yeah, so there are tons of them, because that's also part of my work, no? Make sure that I connect with the customers and get to know about their stories. Maybe we can highlight one in the healthcare area where you, Clara, also were really involved. It's a customer of ours, Mighty Oak. Mighty Oak Medical is in the US, and they are an FDA clear with CE marks. So they produce with our technology what they call the Firefly application, which is mainly a surgical guide. And it's been a huge success. So I don't know if you want to highlight any, because I think that the amount of, let's say, time in preparation of all the surgical operations, it's been huge.
Yeah, it's a great use case because of the advantage in the patient outcome, no? How it was done traditionally, what they are focused on is on surgery, on spine surgery, and those are like for very complex scoliosis cases. Mm-hmm. So traditionally, the surgeon would go in and then they would expose the spine, and basically they were telling us, no, there is a lot of hours that the surgeon needs to spend basically to place what is called the pedicle screws. And once those screws are placed, then they can adjust the spine. This means that the surgeon, when they go to modify the shape of the spine, they have had to spend 3 or 4 hours placing the screws. So they are already, it's a very long operation, and that's how it's done. They use a technique that is called freehand, which is basically, it relies heavily on the experience of the surgeon. What the Mighty Oak is doing and using multi-jet fusion is they do the preoperative planning, they define what is the exact trajectory of the screws, because in the end, it's a spine surgery. It's not a I mean, it's a pretty complex one. Even if you go 1 degree wrong, it's like really wrong. So they do all the pre-operative planning, they define the right trajectories, they print the guide, and then the experience for the surgeon changes completely. They go into the operating room, they place the different surgical guides, one in every level, and they just need, it's a mechanical work. They just need to place the screws, and then in 30 minutes, 1 hour, they are already prepared to do the actual surgery. So it's huge in terms of patient benefits, and there would be no other way to manufacture those parts. So it's a great example of really.
Another one, maybe the industrial part of our business, it's on molded fiber. And it's also this one, I like it because it's also, so the first one, Mighty Oak, it's really attached to HP's mission to make sure our mission is to improve lives, patients and all that. So it's really attached, make sure that our commitment on improving people's lives. And the second one on industrial, it's part of the sustainability on sustainable packages, molded fiber. We have now, I can mention a couple of customers. There is one in Latin America, Moldpack Corporation. They are using and it's this pushing multi-jet fusion to the limits, because to produce the molds for the fibers of the papers and make sure the packaging it's working on them. It's really pushing multi-jet, and I like this one. This is one in Latin America. They are doing the fruit trays, all the packaging of the fruit trays with that. And the second one is in Europe. We have Omnipack, and Omnipack it's also improving their level of CO2 savings thanks to molded fiber. And then the one that it's consumer goods, which is really the one that we launched in September, it's our partnership with Brooks. Okay, I don't know if you're familiar, but Brooks just launched their Accelerate BL shoes. They are made with multi-jet fusion technology, and it's improving performance at footwear at the time that you minimize environmental impact. And it's been a huge success in the US. We still have some people from the Brooks fans club that are waiting for there because the orders were really high since the launch, and it's really exciting. This on the polymer side. Then on the metal, since we launched, what you mentioned, just recently in September, we have in the VIP we have a customer that it's a strategic partnership that we signed, which they are partnering and they are sponsoring AMUG as well. So they are gonna be exhibiting at AMUG. So with Indomim, it's kind of metal injection molding industry, and what we are doing is this partner is improving the properties and the dimensional tolerances on the metal injection molding. And then we have another one, which is based in Europe. It's a Schneider Electric, and these are new components for kind of low voltage switchboards, and also again pushing metal jet technology to the limits, because at the time the engineers were explaining me the application and different tests they did with metal jet, and the success was kind of, wow, this is impressive. And the other one is John Deere, which is a well-known brand around the world, that it's doing with the stainless steel, these bulbs that they are producing with metal jet, with internal channels that are very unique to metal jet technology, thanks to the benefits of additive manufacturing. So probably those are examples that I really feel proud of. Yeah.
And that's great. I think it's covered a lot of industries here in terms of consumer.
Exactly.
And Indomim you mentioned, right? I was there last month. I think your HP team was there to.
Oh, really? That's great.
System. So it's good to see it live in action. But are there any other industries or sectors where HP is focusing on going forward? Is there any specific industries which you are focusing on?
When really, one of our declared priorities it's mainly on the orthotics and prosthetics.
Yeah, we see that market growing a lot, adopting additive rapidly, And we see it as an area where MJF technology is an advantage. When you have parts that are mechanical, that needs to be under dynamic stress, that's where our technology has an advantage. So we see the ONP space, all sockets, insoles, DAFOs, the helmets, all the ONP applications, we have a technological advantage, and that's one sector that we see growing. So that we are focusing on. We're also focusing on footwear, as you saw with the Brooks announcement. Those two are two that
Eyewear, probably.
Eyewear as well. It's growing. Automotive, actually, we also put some focus in there. Those would be the ones.
Great, and I think it's interesting to see the focus, and I think it's going to be quite a bit of hard work and application from the end users as well. So it's the interesting times for HP and the additive manufacturing industry. And earlier we spoke about AMUG, where you mentioned how intense it is, and it has value in terms of the users coming to the show. And of course, it's different from any other global event. But what are the main drivers for HP to be part of this event, right? I think at a personal level, the intensity of the event and interacting with the industry is important. But for an organization, what do you think are the main drivers to be present at AMUG and represent your brand out there?
Yeah, at AMUG, we try to provide that time of the year where both our customers and the newcomers that they are not that familiar with our technologies, they have quality time with the right experts from our organization. So when I put together the proposal every year when I'm going to AMUG, it's about, okay, which is the right talent I can identify from the big HP that I can bring into AMUG. Because for me, it's about connecting people, connecting talent, knowledge, and making sure that's one of the main goals that we have at HP. So we want to give, let's say, to the users, we want to give to the AMUG attendees, that expertise we have in the house, that probably those are engineers that are all the time sitting in their desk, developing their own solutions and products, and they are not exposed to the customer's connection. And for me, AMUG is that special event where I can identify those engineers, those experts in the organization, and make sure they are in front of the customers and users that are coming to our stand and connecting with us to get to know and make sure they got the best in terms of knowledge and talent. Yeah.
It's also a great way because you're basically 24 hours surrounded by users. And so it's a great way to test ideas, to understand what additional things they would need, and also to inform our roadmap. I mean, in the end, we try to go there as well to validate that what we are doing are the right things, and to kind of create the funnel for also what's next.
That's one of the sessions. That this year, Clara, for example, it's planning a workshop which she's looking to somehow highlight this future roadmap, because it's very important, that we add some value, and also we create that momentum that our customers will say, okay, I'm going to AMUG, but again, apart from going to AMUG, I will have this quality time with HP, which is the technology I work with. So it's that part of the year that we want to create this consistency of this journey of customer experience.
No, that's great. I think we've covered quite a few interesting points, and I thank both of you, Rita and Clara, to be part of this podcast today, and nos vemos in Chicago.
Yeah, nos vemos.
So great. I think thanks again, and best wishes for you and the team at HP, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes. Thank you, Aditya. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you all for tuning in to this AMUG special episode series of AM Infocast, where we dived into 3D printing insights across technology, materials, applications, consumer expectations, and more with diverse guests from across the industry. Stay tuned for the next episode of AM Infocast, and see you in Chicago.